Superman's reign over the planet begins in Injustice: Gods Among Us, Part 1. What's up guys, Roman from R&S Entertainment here, and welcome to another episode of Comic History, the weekly series where we go over the iconic storylines, origins, and events in the world of comics. For this week's episode, I want to start up a series that I've wanted to cover for a long time, Injustice: Gods Among Us. If you're familiar with the video game version of Injustice, which was great in its own right, or are excited about Injustice 2, which will be coming out this year, you may not know that the game itself sparked an amazing comic series, which has essentially the same setup and premise, but goes on to do fucking crazy things in the DC universe, spanning years of Superman's reign and Batman's resistance force against it. The comic was initially released in digital format only, with a number of mini-issues combining into a larger storyline that was eventually collected into regular comic format with 6-issue story arc volumes, 2 for each year of Injustice. In this video, I'm going to be covering issues 1 and 2 of Year 1, which covers the events setting up the stage for this amazing series. Our story begins with Clark Kent, Superman, waking up in the middle of the night to the single greatest sound he has ever heard: 2 heartbeats coming from one person. Lois Lane, the love of his life, is pregnant. Clark's mind swims with thoughts of the future, of the best way to raise their child, and Lois brings him into her arms to enjoy the moment together. At that moment, Lois's phone goes off with an anonymous tip alerting her to the city councilman taking a payoff at the docks. And as she gets ready to go with Jimmy Olsen to snap a picture of the deal, Superman notices Batman operating in Metropolis and prepares to go meet him, with Lois pulling him in for a kiss and telling him to go save the world. Superman and Batman meet on a rooftop, with Batman being in town to investigate a robbery at Star Labs, and when Superman tells him he has news, Batman deduces that Lois is pregnant, both from Clark's excitement and fear, and the giant grin on his face. Clark tells him that they want Bruce to be the godfather, and when he tells Bruce he heard the baby's heartbeat, Bruce can't help but smile. At the docks, Lois and Jimmy find who they assume is the councilman, but a gun is quickly pointed at Jimmy and fires, shooting him to death through his camera lens. The Joker and Harley erupt from under their trench coats, yelling, "Hi, Lois!" The next morning, Superman finds Jimmy's dead body at the docks, with a bloody Joker card lying next to him. He immediately rushes to Star Labs, where Batman had found that they were experimenting with kryptonite, and he tells Batman that the Joker has Lois, begging Batman to help him find them. Batman puts out a priority call to every member of the Justice League, putting all of them on the case without telling them the significance of who Lois is. And Flash quickly searches all of Metropolis before grabbing Batman and carrying him to a laboratory in the city, which Batman is embarrassed by and tells Flash not to let anyone see them. They find the corpse of Jonathan Crane, aka the Scarecrow, who is clutching a vial from Star Labs and has a giant grin on his face. And Wonder Woman finds a man at the docks who informs her that the Joker and Harley had stolen a submarine, with Superman flying out at top speed and locating it using his X-ray vision. Superman lifts the submarine out of the ocean, tosses it on the beach, and rips it apart, finding Joker and Harley operating on Lois and not noticing a green gas filling the room. Superman looks up and sees Doomsday looming over him, roaring his name, and Superman says that he won't let Doomsday hurt Lois or the baby, with Harley saying that she didn't know a baby was involved. Superman tackles Doomsday into the sky while Joker pulls Harley out of the submarine, but before they can escape, the Justice League appears and stops them, with Joker laughing at Batman for having to be carried by Flash. Batman notices the fear toxin, and Joker tells him that they had operated on Lois, that she was the trigger, and that when her heart stops, so does every heart in Metropolis. Batman realizes what has happened. Joker had used the kryptonite to modify Scarecrow's fear gas to affect Superman, and desperately calls out to his best friend to stop, that whatever he's seeing isn't real. Superman at this point has flown what he thought was Doomsday into outer space, and as the hallucination fades, Joker asks Batman if he knew Lois was pregnant, and Batman screams and punches him in the face. Clark looks in horror at what he had done, and sees Lois drifting through space next to him, as he hears the 2 heartbeats from her and the baby stop beating. This triggers the warhead from the submarine, which detonates in the middle of Metropolis as Joker smiles and says, "Boom!" And a giant mushroom cloud fills their vision as Superman's entire city is destroyed in front of their eyes. Superman descends into the burning ruins of Metropolis, cradling Lois in his arms, with Green Lantern and Flash gathering together the tiny handful of people who survived the explosion. Wonder Woman, being the only Justice League member other than Superman capable of surviving the amount of radiation at Ground Zero, goes to him and puts her hand on his shoulder, and she finds him crying, saying that he killed them. Diana tells him that the Joker is at fault, not Clark, and Superman asks her if she'll hold Lois's body for him, flying away at full speed. Green Lantern attempts to stop Superman, realizing that he's going after the Joker, who Batman has detained at Gotham Prison. But Superman easily bursts through his ring's power and then flies around Hal faster than he can react, pulling his ring off of his finger with Hal plummeting powerless out of the sky. Superman saves him before he hits the ground, and when Green Lantern tries to contact Batman to warn him, Superman says no, and fries his communicator with heat vision. Meanwhile, Batman interrogates Joker, asking him why he took Superman's wife and child and city from him. And the Joker says he did it because it made him feel good, and because it was easy. Joker says that Batman became what he is now when someone took his parents from him, and asks what he thinks Superman will become. What does a god do when he is no longer tethered to being a man? Batman says that even the Joker can't corrupt Superman, that he is one of the best men Batman has ever known, and at that moment Superman punches through the wall and plunges his hand through Joker's body, destroying his heart and murdering him as Joker lets out one last ha. Upon hearing the news of the Joker's death, Harley murders 2 guards and escapes from prison, returning to Joker's hideout and being confronted by Green Arrow. After a brief fight, Arrow captures Harley, deciding to hide her away to keep Superman from killing her. And on the way there, Harley says, "Is that a boxing glove arrow?" And when she asks why he has a boxing glove arrow, Oliver says that sometimes he wants to punch someone who's really far away. Green Arrow knocks Harley out, and she wakes up handcuffed to a pole in the Arrow Cave, which Harley points out is a stupid name, and says he should call it the Quiver instead, which Oliver admits is actually better. Superman sits alone in the Fortress of Solitude with the Joker's blood still dried on his arm, listening to news reports on Metropolis's destruction and the Joker's death. And when he hears a report about the president of the Middle Eastern nation Bialia imposing an internet blackout and committing genocide on his own people, Superman says no more. He flies to Bialia and blocks an incoming bomb from hitting a child with his back, helping the child up and telling him that he's sorry he doesn't speak Arabic to understand him, but that he would learn, realizing that he should have been protecting the entire world from these kind of horrors all along. He delivers the child to his family, and the people of Bialia thank him, with him telling him that he will stop all of this. Superman marches directly into the Bialian Capitol building, grabbing the president and carrying him out into the streets, stripping his shirt off and handing him over to the people he had been killing. Wonder Woman flies in and tells Superman that there are cameras recording him, and that she will call a press conference with the United Nations for him to speak to the world, and to finally say what she's been waiting to hear him say since day one. Superman addresses the world, starting off by saying that their heroes had failed them. He tells them that his Earth name is Clark Kent, and that as a journalist, he had spent too much time reporting on the evil in the world. That as a hero, he had spent too much time reacting to evils already committed. He grips the podium until it breaks, saying that monsters could no longer be allowed to roam among them, pointing to the deposed Bialian dictator and saying that he was a criminal and would be tried as one. To those who would do the same, those who would hurt others, Superman will come for you. He doesn't care about your beliefs, your countries, your positions of power or lack thereof. No one has the right to take innocent lives. Superman calls for an immediate worldwide ceasefire and cessation of hostilities, and those who would not stop would be stopped by him. It's over. And that is where we're going to wrap up part 1 of Injustice: Gods Among Us. This series is one of my favorite DC comics of all time. Tom Taylor, who writes the first 2 years of the story, is an incredible writer, hitting every character moment perfectly. And for an Elseworld story set in its own universe, it is so true to all of the characters it uses, and it pretty much uses them all. With this first part, you can see how similar it begins to the story in the video game, but after this it goes insane, and leads to places you never expected, but once you get there, you can't believe it had never been done before. This is a series that not only rips the DC universe in half, but genuinely explores the ideas of what beings with extraordinary abilities could and should do with these powers in a world of superheroes. I can't say enough good things about Injustice. I highly recommend everyone who watches this video to go out and read it. You can now buy physical copies or find the digital collected editions. I guarantee if you're a fan of DC Comics, you will be hooked. If you want to see me cover more of Injustice, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and let me know in the comment section below. This video only covered the first 2 issues of the first volume of Year 1, and there is so much more awesome stuff we could cover in this series. If you enjoyed this video, also check out the Comic History playlist where I've done tons of other amazing stories from DC, Marvel, The Walking Dead, Dark Horse, and more. And subscribe to my channel for regular weekly content on all things geeky and awesome. Also, we're coming up fast on 20,000 subscribers, and I will be doing a huge Q&A video and giveaway in celebration of when we hit it. So if you've got any questions you'd like me to answer, make sure to check out the link in the description box below and send them in there. Or you can also send them in via Twitter at Roman_RNS or on Facebook at facebook.com/RNS Entertainment Channel. Also, if you want to commission an episode of Comic History on any story you want, or just want to help support the channel and what I do here, make sure to go check out our Patreon at patreon.com/rnsentertainment. There are all sorts of rewards for anyone who donates even $1, and it goes a long way to making sure I can keep making bigger and better videos for you guys. Anyway, that's it for today, and I'll see you all next time.